Warriors. Wow. No, I think my age would be an issue. Hugo, hi, Bran. How are you? 2028. I'm just trying to live till then. Okay. I have no plans. I will not be seeking office. Hugo. Hi, AJ. Yeah, okay. America, Ryan. Everything free in America. Da 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 in America. West Side Story. Sinatra's here. I got some sleep. I left the chat room an hour before bedtime at 6:30. Mike, how are you? Paul, Blake. Okay. Patrick, how are you? Brand thinks I'd be a good president. I'm not even president of a company. I'm not a president. I'm not presidential timber. Anyway, let's talk about the massive moves that took place.
Why?
Okay.
What happened?
Well, you were right, Steve. That's what
Oh,
happened.
really?
Yeah, and I think it's because you said you were going to vote 15 times. And and I know you like strong men because, you're kind of an authoritarian figure in the company. So, are you happy? Hello?
Am I happy? First of
Bond
all,
bulls,
I'm not an
bond
American,
bulls.
so it's not going to be my president. But does that affect globally things? Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
it does.
Do
Yeah.
I believe that Trump is a better choice than Kamala? Although this is not the type of show we have, I do, but not for the reasons people might think. I don't
Economic.
like Trump as a person, right? But I
Yeah.
do believe he was a better choice. And in my mind, since months ago, it was a slam dunk victory. Either it was him or Kamala. I never bought into the polls. I never bought into the Kamala is ahead, or then after supposedly Trump made a comeback at the last moment that Kamala again is very tight. I never saw the possibility that she would be elected. Right. My gut feeling was telling me that it was never a close election. And as it seems, in this case, I was right.
Okay. So, I mean, the dollar made new highs. Yen has made new highs. Canada, the only dollar pair I see that hasn't made new highs yet. Um, because Aussie made a new low, right? Made a new low, but so far Canada has not made a new high. I think all we did was we filled this gap here.
I think these commodity currencies are holding up a little bit better because, well, let's face it, stocks are
Because
at
of
new
gold,
all-time highs.
because of gold that's going to
Well,
2,400 or silver that's going to 28.
well, precious metals might be coming down, but look at stocks. I mean, we're
Yeah.
almost at 6,000. I mean,
Well, isn't this what we talked about? A Trump win would give us and the way he won was going to light the fuse for a melt up that,
yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to let Ryan and these other guys jump in a little bit because I have so much to say about the price action here. So,
okay.
yeah.
So
I think it was a gift that we got during the weekend, the polls showing Kamala being extremely tight with Trump, because in essence on Monday, we got a confirmation of how exactly the markets would move in one case or the other. So today's price action following Trump's easy win, I think is no surprise whatsoever.
and they may have they flipped the Senate and they might
Yes,
have the House, so actually it could be a red wave, which you know that guy David Rosenberg, Steve. He's
yes.
got a big reputation. He's been a bond bull for a while because he's been looking for economic weakness. He said he was a nervous bond bull, and he said he'd take off the last word if there was a red sweep. And There you go.
Speaking about it, and I think that's very important for the markets. Yes, the reaction is the dollar higher, yields higher, equity markets higher. But I want to ring the bell of caution again. I've been saying it on the morning edge. Keep in mind that yields have already made a rather, US yields have already made a rather big move higher. And
Huge.
in my opinion, this cannot go for much longer without starting to affect risk appetite. People need to be cognizant of that.
Okay. Where's the magic level? 475 on the 10-year?
If we're talking about the 10-year, I don't know what is the magical level, but I have to tell you that 475, as you said, which was the interim high that we got in April, is definitely a very high level given the fact that we've already started being on a cutting cycle, right? I don't really easily see the case for yields to make it above that. And I think that the Fed is going to start really paying very close attention, and perhaps it's going to affect their approach having to do with going off the gas, having to do with quantitative tightening, and perhaps soon switching it up to monetary easing again.
Okay, so you think they may tighten first and then
I think that the Fed is not going to let yields move much higher because, in essence, this move in yields is unwinding the rate cuts that they've started doing.
this has never happened before, has it, Steve, where the beginning of a rate cut cycle that the market would, yields would turn sharply higher after the first cut, which was a pretty big cut. Isn't that
I can't tell you with
unusual?
certainty if it has ever happened before, but I can tell you that for sure, one way or another, it's not going to end up being sustainable, either because it fixes itself or because it's going to first force the hand of the Fed to fix it.
How did they fix it? By tightening?
The easiest thing the most probable thing they can do is either cutting more aggressively to, in essence, shock the markets, or unwinding the quantitative tightening program a lot faster than expected.
Okay, and what are your expectations for tomorrow in light of what you've said?
I don't know yet. I don't know because it's I
When are you
don't like
gonna
to
know? After the meeting? Come on, man. Be a guesser.
It's not an easy prediction to make because these are not standard conditions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's like the Twilight Zone. The
Anyhow,
Twilight Zone.
I don't want to monopolize. We have so many people
It's
here,
been
so
normalized. The Twilight Zone has been normalized. Okay, so okay, you've talked enough, is what you're saying, my Russian friend.
I mean, we have so many people here that
All
have
right,
valuable things
all
to
right.
say.
You want to hear more from Steve? You have to join. And I
Oh
know
yeah,
that
they're going to hear more from me in the morning edge. There's no question about
yeah, on
that.
the morning edge. And you know what? When Steve was doing Face with me and Blake for the first few years, you don't know how much I learned from Steve when he did a roundup and went over the whole board with everybody, and how I learned to be a little bit more patient than I used to be, and not care about catching the top or the bottom of a move, but waiting for a signal and confirmation to take risk. And you only learn that by watching someone do it, talk about it. If it's not your paradigm, you have to see it to absorb it. So join. Okay, Brian, gold, were you able to get out of it before it sold off like this today?
No, I'm letting it run. I was keeping an eye on that 27 level, maybe for an ad, but I'm not in that big a mood of catching falling knives. I had a little nibble
Yeah.
in euro dollar and turned that one out for a 20 pip loss. But yeah, we're breaking the level here in gold,
Yeah.
26.85. That's going. Bit of a line in the sand, 26.70, 73. If that goes, then it could be in trouble. But the only thing with gold is it's moving on the back of the dollar. So for me, the fundamentals are still there. Why it's been rallying for the last 2 years. So if that doesn't change, there is a possibility this one springs back quite strongly. But don't ask me when. At the moment, we're gonna be trading this mess for quite some time.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to be trading markets. We make the messes.
That's true. we
Anyway, you
always
know,
do that very well, don't we? We
yeah.
always make the mess
Anyway,
very well.
yeah, we make a mess out of things. The markets
Exactly.
are just, moving around, doing their
Prices that move.
thing. So WTI's coming off, drill baby drill.
Yeah.
Maybe this builds my case for natural gas. I still think it's bottoming here. Um, S&P's new highs for the move, but even on day we're maybe we're going to fulfill it and get up to that 6100 level by next week. Maybe this is a melt up here.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's
what do
getting a
you
bit
think?
choppy out there. I'm keeping an eye on the screen. We were trading sub 106.90s a minute ago. Now we're back above 107 in euro dollar. So it's things are getting a bit choppy out there. So be careful, traders.
Okay. Okay, who else is here that wants to talk before Blake takes over? Ryan, Blake. Jane, are you happy about the election? Jane, unmute yourself. I bet that a lot of people in the trader funding program had big nights or rough nights. So amazing moves. That's all I could say. It's an amazing move. And I can't launch. Can you get long dollars, Brian, after a move like this? Yeah, I mean, here we are. We're going to threaten this trend line. And I know
Yeah.
it's one that Blake's looking at. Comes in around
It's
106,
I think it's
560.
tough to chase it. I think it's tough to chase it. You've either got to wait for a bit of a pullback in the buck, pick an entry point. But yeah, I'm not one for just jumping in and shut my eyes. So yeah, I think you just got to wait and see. There's a few levels that are popping up. If you look at a lot of the dollar mex, that got close to a topside area. It's having another go now. So yeah, there's a few areas. If you do see a dollar pullback and it's on support, as I say, dollar mex is your prime candidate. I think obviously that's going to be a big buy the dip pair to look at, the MXN in general. So yeah, if you get a decent pullback, then that's when you go for it. But chasing here, not for me.
China did not like the results. I think I took a look at Alibaba. There's
Yeah,
Baba. It's gapping lower. See that? So,
CNH as well took a
okay.
took a moon
Yeah,
shoot up to a bit of a level. So
yeah.
yeah, this is the
So,
fallout. We knew what the fallout was going to be. Been speaking about it for weeks. What to look at: Mex, Canada, China. So we knew what was coming, and it's here. This is the fallout. Now we just got to watch how big the fallout is and whether Trump's going to follow through with a lot of his threats, and that's going to decide things.
yeah, you're talking tariffs.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and all that stuff. Make America great again. Hitting Mexico for 100%, 200% tariffs of car imports and that sort of thing. Is he going to follow through, or what's going to happen? So
Are we gonna what's gonna happen with USMCA? Is that the acronym, Ryan?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
What
Yeah.
is that?
Well,
That's
he's going to.
the North
Mexico have already
American.
said they're going to come in and want to sit down at the table and negotiate something. And that he did exactly that last time, threatened loads of stuff. Then they sat down and got an agreement. So threats are one thing, the outcome is a different thing altogether. I don't think Trump's going to be as protectionist as he's threatening to be, because it doesn't. doesn't do any good
work.
for the US, closing the door to everyone else, does it, in terms of trade? But you know what he's like. He wants to get a deal done. And if he gets a decent deal done that's good for everyone, then it's a positive.
Okay. So I in the room last night, I said I was getting suspicious of how many times people were able to buy this 32.25 in silver. Was giving too many opportunities, and now I know why. They're just sucking in longs before they puked, and this candle must have, people probably thought, wow, I really got a great price. I stole it, and then this happens. So
Coach,
anyway,
first of all, let me just say it was really nice having you in the chat room last night. You stayed up past your bedtime, and it was really, really nice. Uh, so that was cool. If you look at silver and if you zoom out just a little bit, we're breaking a channel. This is a channel that we've been following since
from here.
July 26th. Yeah, you can see it
Okay.
now. I mean, you can
Yeah.
see that
Yeah. Yeah.
channel. We just broke channel support
Yeah.
just now.
It
So
probably was the line was probably close to the 4 hour 200 because that looks like the breakdown. So, then we're coming back to here, wherever.
so yeah, that looks entirely possible. And you know what's really possible today, and this is kind of something I'd like to talk to the group about, because I believe this is the buy the rumor, sell the news day. And everybody was positioned for this.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten confirmation if it's going to be a complete red wave yet, because I think they're still counting the votes for the Senate.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you know, Trump was not expected to win. Well, he was by the betting markets and by a lot
Yeah.
of people, of course. I know you're probably sitting there and saying, "Oh no, I expected him to win." I'm just saying the markets obviously anticipated that. You saw Bitcoin running ahead of time, dollar
Yeah.
MEX running ahead of time,
Yields.
stocks were stronger, dollar was stronger. So what happens now? Is this a
Yeah.
buy the rumor, sell the event? And that's where this is where it's going to get really interesting the next couple of days, in my opinion.
Okay. You want to take the charts?
Yeah, sure. I'm
Or
sorry. Michael
it's
Michael said Senate is red, House is still up for grab. I'm sorry. It is lack of sleep speaking. And
yeah.
there's a lot of us that are sitting around in our chat rooms yawning today. But can you see the silver market?
Oh, I have to stop sharing, I guess. Yeah. Um,
Can everybody see the silver market now? Hello?
there it is.
Okay. Yeah, so here's that breakdown in the channel that we were talking about. And watch gold, because gold, we just broke below 2690. This is really big support. And again, these are like the trades that are starting to unwind, following the election. I'm wondering how far we're going to go. And that I wouldn't necessarily be on the short side of the equity markets here at this point, but you see where we rallied to. We hit all-time highs. We went to 127% extension, and I'd be a little bit careful if we drop back below. Let's call it like maybe 5,800 or so. That's not going to be a bullish sign for stocks. And so I think we should be keeping an eye on equities here, seeing how they respond today. Now that everybody's coming back to all traders are waking back up. They're in front of their computers, looking around, and we're sitting at all-time highs. You don't want to see the stock market dip back below this, 50. Let's just call it 58.90. We start breaking back below that, and you have to start being a little bit more defensive, in my opinion. So let me go over to Ryan really quick and ask him. Ryan, the euro looks and is trading really heavy here, and I don't after a big drop. We've talked all about there was a lot of traders in our chat room and in our community that shorted the euro yesterday when it was trading at 109.30, which I'm very, very proud of. But we've dropped 250 pips. And I have to look at the euro from a longer term perspective and say, you know, this is a big range. You can obviously see the euro, big rejection of, massive resistance here. We've broken this trend line. Lower end of the range comes in around 105. That's also a completion of the ABCD, like equal leg move. I don't know if I'd actually short the euro right here, but any move back to 107.50, and I'm thinking short side. What do you think with the euro dollar right now?
Well, yeah, I said exactly that. I'm not going to chase it lower. And if you want to get short, you have to pick your spot again and look at it. 107 has been a big level. Been highlighting that for a few weeks as we were coming down towards it. 105, 104.50 is the next big level. That marks that longer term range. It's a huge level, but there's plenty of stops in the way. Under here, 106.70 is a bit of a level going back to the summer, June, July, into 106. We had a hold down there, April. So there's going to be a few levels in the way. Is it going to get there in a straight line? I don't know, but yeah, I wouldn't chase it down here unless you see some levels between here and 108 holding as resistance. And confirming that, and then that gives you your conviction to get in. And it was the same as I was saying on the flow show. Watch your levels. It was important watching the test when New Yanks got up as to what was going to happen at 107, and we saw it 20, 30 minutes into the flow show. The market's moving. Euro dollar was back down testing the low, and it went and broke it. Same for cable. It had a double bottom there, 128, 45, 50, and it went and broke it. Even though it's back above now. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting levels. You just got to be very careful at the moment.
So let me ask you. I'm gonna give you this question. Then I'm gonna go to Dale, because Dale, we've talked about this literally for weeks. Here we are, Trump 2.0, and it's what the market was expecting. You're looking at the dollar Mexican peso, which, by the way, I don't know. There's a lot of people that was trading this on the long side with me. I actually got out of this thing at 2070. I don't know. I have to go back to the chat room and see exactly where I got out of this damn thing last night. Dollar Mex, I closed it out at 2074 is where I closed out my dollar Mex last night, just ahead of this 127% extension. Really big move here. But notice how it's reversing today. Do you think we get the buy the rumor, sell the news? I mean, like I said, Dale's been kind of talking about that a lot in recent weeks. What do you think?
Well,
No,
if you
I'm
show,
sorry. I was asking Ryan. I'm going to come back to you, Dale.
oh,
I'm
okay,
going to.
yeah,
But
sure.
Ryan, what do you think
Yeah,
about
sorry,
the
mate.
buy the rumor, sell the news on a day like today?
I don't think that happens in that pair, the dollar mex, because this is confirmation of the threat of those tariffs. So Trump's in the hot seat now. We need to see what comes next.
Yeah,
And
let's
I
talk
think,
about risk in general.
yeah, well, it's going to remain, well, mex or risk, whatever. It's going to remain at risk, the mex, until we know what's coming from him. So I expect that to be a dip buying opportunity for a lot of traders. But pick your points as well. Stocks, I don't know. I really don't know. I'll be surprised if we don't tap 6K by the end of this week. The Fed are
Good.
going to continue cutting tomorrow. So there's no change for that. And there's still, again, it's a bit like gold. You look at the long-term trend, we've come through plenty of elections over the last 2 decades, and stocks haven't done anything but go up. So there's no reason to change a winning team just yet, irrespective of getting a bit of short-term noise.
If you're Fed Chair Powell, how do you feel this morning?
Well, probably pretty sick. On a personal
Maybe
level.
he's looking to write his resignation letter. How about that?
You mean beat President Trump to the punch?
Oh yeah. Before he gets removed, and I wonder who is going to be the
He's
Treasury
got a
Secretary.
great legacy to leave, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I mean,
especially
yeah.
this
Why not go
last
out on a high
move,
note? Right.
huh?
Why not
What's
go
that?
out on a high note?
Yeah, it's hot. You mean the market
Well, I
or
mean, Powell could go out and say, hey, like
yeah,
in my tenure, as Fed chair, this is what
yeah,
happened,
yeah, I
so
got
I
yeah.
ran up the deficits like it was nobody's business. Anyway, but Dale, what do you think about the buy the rumor, sell the news
For
thought process?
scalps.
Because you've talked a lot about it the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I was noticing your 15-minute cable chart.
This one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have a three drive pattern there. See how it's diverging? So I mean, yeah, there could be a bounce. I don't think it's going to be a major turn. Maybe we have to distribute for a few days. Maybe, all of this carries on into next week. I think I'd like to see that 59.90 S&Ps. But that looks like, you could buy cable here and risk the lows and look for a pop, but you know, don't don't look for 200 pips on this move.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, at the most 100 or so.
All right. So
Back to the breakdown.
and yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, remember we do have the Bank of England tomorrow too, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's a big Bank of England rate decision, and
And if
Ryan,
you put your if you put
they're
your
gonna raise
weekly
rates
up,
by a full basis point, right?
yeah, and look at the weekly, what moving average it's holding on this pullback, and it held it again so far.
200
You
week.
got,
Yep.
yeah. So, that's a shot. Not saying it's
Ryan, I
going to
was
work,
totally
but it's
joking
low
about what I
risk.
just Ryan, I was joking about what I just said. What do you think the Bank of England's going to do tomorrow?
Make a mess of everything as usual.
They
That's
do
what we
Okay.
always
know.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, following
exactly.
the budget, they have a little bit of work to do. So,
Yeah, I mean, they expected to cut 25 pips. The vote's expected to be 8-1, which I think might be a little bit rich. I think we might get a 7-2 or something like that. Not that it will matter, but yeah, they're dealing with the same thing. Yields going up because of the budget, so they might make pay a bit of lip service to that. It's also the forecast report, the monetary policy report. So we're going to get a presser from Bailey tomorrow. So we'll get to hear what he thinks of the new budget and Trump and everything else that's nothing to do with them.
all right. Well, thank you for your thoughts, and we'll see what happens tomorrow with the Bank of England. Hey, Steve, I want to come to you real quick, and just talk about where you see risk this morning and in the markets. What are you thinking before we check out here?
As I said, Blake, I think that we have the green light for things to resume as they've been going. But if yields continue this crazy rally higher, I think that sooner or later that's going to start really messing up with risk appetite. We're not there yet, but we're not that far either. I do think, though, that perhaps your prediction that it's buy the rumor, sell the news is a little bit premature, meaning that I don't necessarily think we're going to see this manifesting already today. I think that we might stay a little bit more in a, in a festive, let's say, mood.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, it definitely could. I mean, people are going to celebrate, but remember, and I just need to point this out. Markets have been rallying into this election pretty aggressively, over the course of the last couple of months. So where we are right now is I think it was a big deal. And then let's not forget something else. And let me zoom out a little bit here and just go from January 1st, 2024, or the third, fourth, right here. Right now, the market is up 20, let's just say north of 25% on the year right now, following an election, following what the market was anticipating was going to happen. So just keep that in the back of your mind before we go. And then I also want to point this out: the dollar CAD and the Aussie and the Kiwi. We got questions on why those commodity currencies are acting a little bit better. That's because stocks are higher. But let's not forget what is going to be happening and the tariffs and everything else, and how it's going to impact China, which inherently is going to impact Australia, New Zealand, and keep an eye on these commodity currencies because they've kind of outperformed. You can see them. Like a great example is like the Euro Aussie, for example. Look at how they've outperformed, the euro. And I'll be watching those very, very carefully today, especially with the dollar CAD, because, and let me just,
Good eye.
yeah, mention this. And Dale, you know this because I know you've been following it pretty closely. I'm going to pull it up on a chart that I don't use. Whoops, that's not one that I use. I use that one quite extensively on the trade-off show, which I'll be doing tonight. Here's the dollar CAD. We start breaking above this 139.50. I would assume we start triggering stops towards 140. And then we get above 140 and then things get a little bit messy. Then you start looking at levels in the mid 140s. So as Ryan pointed out earlier, and it's on its highs of the session right now, just FYI. It hasn't moved all night. But this is one of those things that Ryan's like, as Ryan said, we don't know what's going to happen with our relationships here in Mexico, in Canada. So keep this Canadian on the radar. And you see crude's weakening. I don't know how crude's going to react, but could play a part in this dollar CAD.
Drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. That means, maybe some weaker crude oil prices, and maybe we'll get some peace in the Middle East and in Ukraine and Russia, which probably usher in weaker energy costs. I think that's the hope right now. If you live in Europe, and I was talking to, I know you have your guest here. At least I hope you have your guest here.
It's
Not here yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay. I was talking to Beat Nussbauer from last week, and he's like, as a European, I just really, he's like the if Trump does win, it could mean peace, for something that's happening so close to our borders in the UK. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. But let's see if President Trump 2.0 can usher in some calmer flare-ups that we've seen in recent months. What do you guys think of that, Ryan? What do you think of here comes Trump, and you got to think about what's happening in Ukraine and what's happening in the Middle East in Israel.
Yeah, it's a big thing. I mean, look at what he did when he first came in, first American leader in God knows how long to meet with North Korea. So he said he's going to try and fix it in his own special way. Probably take them all out for a game of golf or something. But who knows if he can pull it off. If he does, well, you're going to see a risk rally, the likes of which we haven't seen for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean that's something else to be thinking about. And what do you think about that, Steve? That idea? And I'm letting Dale find his guest.
About what? Trump and North Korea?
Yeah, well, North Korea, Russia, Ukraine, what's happening in
That's one of the main
Israel.
reasons why I think that Trump was the better choice. Because, as I've said in the past multiple times, one of the only commitments he made that he actually fully fulfilled was that he doesn't want the US to participate in wars, and he doesn't want wars to be ongoing with direct or indirect participation from the US. And let's be honest, the US is indirectly participating in the Ukraine war, right? And I think that's going to be net positive for everybody. I think that most likely within 2025, the Ukraine situation is going to be resolved one way or another. And yes, I know it's not pleasant. Many people just don't want to admit it. But the reality is that there is no chance that Ukraine is getting back what they've lost, right? I don't think there is anybody smart enough that doesn't realize that Putin is no way, there is no chance he's returning back what he got. And the only way that could change is with active military participation, which we know that the US is not going to do. And for a good reason. There's no way the US is going to be sending troops to fight against Russia in Ukraine. We know that Europeans won't do it, right?
Yeah.
So it might as well get resolved, then just be a situation that's in limbo, ongoing, and it just keeps affecting everybody. There's a lot of money that's being funneled there, in my opinion, as it always happens. And in these situations, a lot of that money is being eaten up by the usual forces.
Hmm.
I don't think this is something that we should be hoping to see continuing further. I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be in favor of anybody.
Right. Right. Yeah, makes sense. Hey,
By the way, I don't know, since we're talking about geopolitics, Blake, I don't know if you already saw. We already had some statements from Germany's side. They came out and said that Europe should become more competitive in energy prices. Right? Guess when that happened? Today in the morning. Do you think this is a coincidence? They said that the EU should become more competitive with the US in energy prices. So as you understand, in essence, that's another spillover benefit for us Europeans here. And if the Russia-Ukraine situation gets resolved, that's also going to be a factor that's going to be pushing energy prices lower.
Yeah, that's a great point. If you guys and thank you, Steve, for all your thoughts, especially from the geopolitical front. And Dale, have you found your guest, by the way?
I don't think he's here. I
Oh,
sent him a
oh,
message. Looks like oh, there he is. See?
okay. Well, while you bring
Ye
him
with
over,
little faith, huh?
I just want I'm gonna leave you guys with a couple of things. This is copper, and obviously you can see Trump, Harris, and guys, if you go over to ForexAnalytix, I did something a little special for you guys last night. Let's I guess we can do this. Um, you know, Harris, Trump. This is, the direction, and obviously Trump won, and you can see the euro rejected the 109.35 level, and we went straight down from there as of yesterday. But I did that on a lot of these charts. One of the charts that we don't keep on trading or on ForexAnalytix is copper. But copper is obviously getting slammed today, and we're in a world that the world's going to be facing a lot of tariffs more than likely, and could be even more depending on how Congress shapes up, which means slower growth. I mean, and maybe lower global growth. And now you're seeing copper really break down. This is something we need to keep an eye on, especially if we start breaking back below like 420 in copper, because then we start approaching some major, trend lines. For those of you that trade copper, just keep your eye on it. But like I said, a lot of our charts, I did the Harris Trump, what it looks like, and they've all moved in those general directions, because on the Trump win.
Dr. Copper has a pneumonia.
Yeah, yeah. And Ryan, I was listening to your trade-off show, and I'm a little irritated you won't ever use Dr.
Thomas is
Copper
here.
anymore.
No, it's, not
Don't
me.
don't get pushed around by that Michael Brown. Don't let him push
Don't
you
have to
around.
worry about that. I'll let him have the odd nut now and again.
Hey, Dale's interview is here. Look, I just want to say for all of you that were in the ForexAnalytix chat room last night, it was bonkers, and it was wonderful having you all there. And that's kind of how we do business every single day. So I'm glad so many of you got to view that last night, and what we're all talking about, and things that are moving. And thank you for being part of it. Watch this dollar CAD. It's about ready to break 139.50, just FYI. And then I'm going to pass it over to Dale, but I want to thank Ryan for sleeping in and not getting up with us. Just kidding, Ryan. You told us you weren't going to, which I don't
Yep.
blame you. But really, really great flow show today. Steve, thanks for being here, providing your
My
geopolitical
pleasure.
outlook and views. And Dale, great having you in the chat room last night, buddy.
Thanks, Blake.
And
Cheers,
and
everyone.
and by the way, your microphone's a little light for your interview.
Okay, got
Yes.
it. Hi, Thomas.
Well, hello.
Thank you,
Sorry about
team.
the delay. I had certain issues came up, right? I had to handle them, and it just I had reserved too little time to do
Okay.
it. So my
All
bad.
right.
Sorry.
All right, that's fine. So your impressions, your thoughts about the U.S. election and a pretty clear victory for Donald Trump.
I think I just wrote to X something like 30 minutes ago that this is the this is one of the best days during the past 5 years. This is
Okay.
that, yeah, because it's now like people in the US generally do not understand how bad the situation in Europe was becoming because of Ukraine and all that. So,
Okay.
and now we have hope. Like Europe, the European leaders have they have shot themselves in the leg, economically and otherwise too. We are much deeper slump, I think, than what the actual economic figures um,
Okay.
show,
So
because anyway, but
okay.
yeah, so now there's hope.
Okay, and the hope is what? That Trump settles the war and gets Ukraine to capitulate and
No,
give up
the thing in
land and then
Ukraine is there's just two options: either escalation to a NATO level, that NATO will get directly involved, or Russia will overrun Ukraine within the next few months, possibly pushing the AF or the armed forces of Ukraine to unconditional surrender.
all right,
I
well
don't
they have
think.
time. They have time before Trump takes office. That's January 20th. That's 2
Yeah,
months
I
over.
know, but now that they know, I think Trump and Putin will start to negotiate, if not today, then during this week, how to proceed. I don't think at current, like Russia has shown their strength, military strength now. They are overrunning everything NATO throws there, basically. So they don't, they just want, I'm rather certain that Kremlin just wants, well, they will take the East. There is no discussion about it anymore. But I think Kremlin just wants to see the conflict resolved, and hopefully that the Europeans German would open the remaining Nord Stream pipeline, because now they are bringing this gas here, through China and Kyrgyzstan, and it's crazy. They are presenting a like a tough stance towards Russia, but they are circumventing all these energy sanctions and all that through different counterparts. And the stupidest thing is that they now haul Russian gas to China and then drive it all through the Cape of Good Hope and all in the whole world basically to get it here. It's a farce. And European economy suffering, like German economy suffering so badly. I don't think it has suffered this badly since the Second World War. Like Volkswagen is going to cut. It's a German company, with a very long history. And some German analysts just wrote that they have never closed an actual factories in Germany, and now they are. So
Okay.
it's the European economy is in dire straits, and we are threatened by the collapse of European, or what remains from the European security structure that was created after the Second World War. If Ukraine collapses completely, then I don't, as a European, I don't want to see that. So
Because Poland would be next, right?
next, well, Poland would need to move in.
Yeah.
And there was this comment coming up. Nord Stream 2, the second pipeline, is still operative. You can take and turn it on, but Germany doesn't want to. So there's two pipelines. The one was blown up, and the second one is still functional, at least according to the Kremlin and President Putin. And so,
Right.
yeah, so what I hope what we'll start to see now that, like in Ukraine, Russia holds all the leverage, everything. There's nothing except nuclear attacks that NATO can throw at Russia anymore. So they have won. It's done. So what I'm hope that they will start like negotiating really rapidly, really like this week, and they get agreement to stop the Russian advances, freeze the zone of conflict to some point, and then we just hope that the Biden administration will not conduct a seppuku for Europe during these last 2 months. So that's the hope, and we really haven't had a hope in Europe for close to 2 years. So this is all the well, there's no nicer way to put it, but all us uncorrupted analysts in Europe have been secretly hoping for this or openly. So that's the thing.
Secretly, openly.
Yeah, secretly or openly. That's like
Yeah.
a secret openly. I don't know.
It's an oxymoron. Can you keep a secret?
Sure. Of course.
I'm not telling you now because you share your secrets publicly.
I do, yeah. Yeah, I do. I have
All
that.
right.
That's yes, sir.
All right.
But mostly personal things,
You know what the secret to trading is, Thomas?
What it is.
There is no secret.
Yeah,
It's hard work and living through adversity. And if that scares you, do something else.
yeah, that's very good
All
advice.
right. That's a secret.
That's a secret. But
Yeah.
I think did you watch did you watch the speech of Trump, the victory speech?
No, it was
Okay.
past my bedtime. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
well, it was morning here, so I watched it. And it was like you could see, of course, the burden of the campaign, but also the enormity of the task that lies ahead. I think,
Oh yeah.
like I could show you just this one thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. This is because, like, do you see this? The accumulated federal deficit. You see it?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah. So this is the thing now. Like, if from the Trump is the blue, we have I have excluded the second quarter of 2020, which was the Corona thing, because it didn't reflect actual policy. It was a panic emergency move. But the Biden, this is insane. Like I think they could get even to a deficit of 8,000 billion USD in 4 years. It's insane. So this is like if we look at where the yields are going, they're not going where the Fed wants them to go, and I think there are two reasons for this: the trouble that is brewing in the Middle East, aka a war, regional war, and then the fact that U.S.
Well,
has issues
won't Trump be able to broker a peace there? If you think he could broker one in Ukraine, maybe he doesn't want to broker a peace in the Middle East because he's adversarial with Iran.
Yeah, but because these are the two conflicts are tied. Like Kremlin has made it clear time and time again that they are fully backing Iran.
Right.
And before Iran hit Israel the first time, was it on the 30th of April or something? The day before, Russia launched a high altitude test of an intercontinental ballistic missile which flew over Iraq. It was a statement. So I think Trump knows this, and he understands that. Okay, he's a champion of Israel, that's for sure, but he doesn't want to see the world economy to blow up, which would happen if a regional war would erupt, like oil would go to 300 or something like that. So he will do everything in his power to stop that too. And now the thing is just that now we enter a very precarious period now, because he can talk to Vladimir Putin, but I don't think he has really good connections to Iran because of the assassination of Suleimani.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he does.
yeah,
He
I
does
don't
with
remember him.
he does with Netanyahu.
Yeah, he does. But Netanyahu is just one side of the aggression
Right.
now, and everything I've seen that from the Israel attacks to Iran basically stated they were a failure, while the Iranian attacks to Israel have been really effective, at least in my point of view. So now we have the risk that Iran escalates before Trump gets to power, and so
Yeah.
so there are statements and messages and movements of troops and all that in Iran which propose that there will be a strike soon. And that is something that every single person in the world should look at what happens in the Middle East before Christmas, let's say. Because if the regional war really erupts there, then we are in a world of hurt, really, honestly, because people haven't really seen an energy crisis since the 1970s. You
Right.
probably
Yeah.
remember it, do you?
I do. Gas
Yeah,
lines, everything. I remember it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a similar thing. US would be hurt less, but unfortunately, I think the last time I checked, your strategic oil reserves are rather
Low.
down because
Yeah.
because Biden administration used them to
Right.
drive down the inflation rate. It was
Right.
it that was that's I think
That
that
was
was a borderline
that
criminal
was
thing.
for him. That was strategic.
Yeah, it was, but it was borderline criminal. At the
Yeah.
same time, you are taking away the reserves, and with your other hand, you are waging a war in the Middle East, basically, or allowing it to happen. It's borderline criminal actions, I would say.
So
But
all right.
anyway, so
So let me ask you this: is this a seminal event that makes you optimistic? Because I believe that the real problem is debt, and that it doesn't matter when you fly into a mountain if you hit the right side or the left side.
well, you're absolutely correct about that. But if you saw the town hall of Elon Musk, they asked him how much you think they can cut from the federal expenses during the next 4 years. And he said at least 2 trillion. That would cover the deficit. And I actually, considering what he did with he has been doing with Tesla, and especially what he did with Twitter, now X, I think
Thomas,
I think he can pull it off. Yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
no worries.
It's Steve. We've talked in the past. I have to tell you that my opinion about Elon Musk and his collaboration with Trump, etc. My gut feeling tells me that this relationship might end up in tears.
It's possible. Yes.
I
Why?
very, very much. I
Why?
mean,
What's going to break
I
up the
seriously,
bromance?
first of all, I seriously hope I'm 100% wrong
Because of
in what I'm going to.
egos?
I seriously hope I'm going to be 100% wrong in what I'm going to say now. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
want to begin by there. But I'm afraid that, yes, he's going to want to cut a lot, and there should be a lot to cut. But I'm afraid that they're not going to let him. He's going to have a huge list. And in my opinion, there is a very, very big chance that they're not going to let him touch many of.
Yeah, like defense and entitlements.
Yes.
Hmm.
And if you don't cut some of the entitlements and some from the defense, there is no way that you can end up making significant cuts that are going to really shift the needle having to do with deficits.
Yeah, we are in complete agreement based on that. But the thing, how I see the second Trump presidency is that now he cares only about his legacy, and he will soon learn, let's say, during the first 3 months of next year, that the economic collapse is going to come. It's they cannot stop it anymore. So I hope at that point he switches to thinking about how to get U.S. economy to the best shape after, because that will be his legacy. And also, if it requires, because he has said that he wants Europeans and other countries to carry their load when it comes to defense. I think he secretly
What you're
of,
talking
of
about is
cutting.
the only hope, Thomas.
Hmm?
But you know something, the amount of times in the past I've told myself that, this person should now only be looking for his legacy, and
Hmm?
I've been disappointed are too many. What I'm afraid is going to happen is, don't forget that each party has some continuity.
Hmm?
So the Republican Party, I believe at some point are going to start pressuring him like, okay, you know something? Yes, you cannot get reelected. Obviously, this is your last term. There is no
Hmm?
alternative to that. Even if there wasn't the age issue, you can't be elected for a third time.
Hmm?
We don't want you to leave behind, a situation that is going to make it impossible for us to re-elect the next president.
Hmm? And they have J.D. Vance for that, because the the thing they need to get through to everyone in the U.S. that the economic crisis or recession, deep recession, it will come regardless. They cannot really salvage it anymore. It will come, and it needs to come. So at that point, I think all these things change. And the thing with Trump legacy is that now he's here for the last time, and he only wants to present himself as a winner, which he is. So he will start to think not what happens during his term, but after because it will lead to there. And of course, Republicans can pressure him, but I'm not sure whether he cares about that. He cares just about his own legacy, and he
Let's
doesn't
hope
want
you're
to.
right. I'm really
Yeah.
hoping you're
We
right.
can we can have this discussion in 4 years' time. Then 4 years' time, then we know. Then we know.
Yeah,
After 4 years, we know. So yeah, well, let's agree to disagree on this.
No,
I
I'm not
think
disagreeing with you. I have many doubts. I'm hoping
Mm.
you're right. And I'm
Yeah,
hoping I'm wrong for doubting it.
yeah,
his tariff
yeah.
policy will
Let's
leave
hope.
us with many Hoover towns. Okay,
Yeah.
Hoovervilles. We already have Hoovervilles. And Thomas, what's he going to do? You're saying he can't prevent this economic collapse.
Mm.
Um, how's he going to handle the Great Reset? Is he going to default on the debt? He's threatened to do that before. He wants
That
a weaker dollar. What are his tools and mechanisms to get us out of something that the Fed has delayed for 20 years?
the thing is now that there is I think there's a notable difference between Trump in the first term and Trump now. So in the first, we kind of thought in where actually an analyst who has now left in GNS Economics, he made the argument that Trump may even default. But he really hinted of about that possibility, and was basically talked out of it by financial advisors, effectively saying that it will collapse the world economy. So he didn't do that. But the interesting question now is, of course, that what if the world economy collapses regardless? Why
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's
why wouldn't he?
starting in Europe.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, it's coming. Yeah, so what?
Europe is ground zero, then Asia, then us. I
Yeah,
think
and if
that's a rotation.
Yeah, and if he really wants the US to stand first and foremost by itself, then why not cut the dollar thing and default? It's a we don't there's I think there's too many variables at play regarding the economy and the war that we can definitely say what path he will choose. But my argument for this term is that he's only interested of his legacy, that after 10 years his term looks like a winner. That's the only thing he is interested in, I think. And but let's see. We haven't done a full analysis yet. So yeah, but this is speculation. But I have been saying for quite some time to people that if there's a second Trump term, it will be different than the first, because then he had to kind of think his businesses, and he maybe even thought about his reputation. But he's old man now, closing to death. So, and what I learned from older men, is that they only care about their legacy, and Trump wants to see the world sees him as a peacemaker and a winner. And I think he will do everything in his power to aim for those. And if there's one Republican candidate, I actually become a fan of J.D. Vance during the past few months. If there's one Republican candidate that can make Great Depression benefit himself, I'm definitely it's J.D. Vance. If you have seen his interviews in CNN and in CNBC, he's a brilliant young statesman.
Yeah,
Really,
he's very smart, very
he's
smart.
yeah. I become a fan. You know, he's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
like
he's very smart, and he has a glow as well. He writes well on the camera.
yeah,
I think he's very good. He
yeah,
was
and he,
surprisingly good. Yes.
yeah, and he's ruthless but polite. You know,
Yes.
that's like
Likable, but at the same time,
yeah,
um, yeah,
unyielding. So you can trust that if he says that, oh, I will do this, he will do it. And we have been like the world has been pushed through such a period of uncertainty, and that if we face an economic crisis next, people will look up to this kind of leaders who will say this is going to be hard, this is going to be difficult, but we will do that. So I think there's a continuity, there's a legacy which comes from J.D. Vance, and maybe the ticket is J.D. Vance and Tulsi Gabbard in 28. So, but I think choosing J.D. Vance was a great thing. You know, he's just really proven himself to be a kind of statesman of the new era. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
All right. Well, I suggest you get an 8x10 autograph glossy of the guy.
That's all right.
And
But
you know what? I'm very nervous because I've never heard you so happy, Thomas. And optimistic. And Steve is happy. He's jumping into interviews. So when you and Steve are happy, the contrarian in me says, "Be careful out there,
yeah,
people." All
something
right?
bad is
These
really bad.
guys, all right. Anyway, Thomas, thanks for coming by.
And
And
sorry
I'm
for being late. Sorry. Yeah.
no, man, you know what? You've been coming by for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have, we're human.
Hey, one more thing. If you
Okay.
think that gold is expensive now, I make a prognosis or forecast that this will be nothing where it is in 2 years' time.
Okay.
So
Well, I think you'll see 2,400 first.
yeah,
So
okay.
back up the truck there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. And anyway, I appreciate it. You've been long gold all this time. Did you ever sell any of it?
We were forced to sell some of it, yeah. But
Why? Who forced you?
accounting, we had a rough patch it about 2 years ago. We were actually
Yeah.
went through a chapter 11 bankruptcy at GNS Economics, so we had to liquidate. So, but
Oh,
it,
okay.
yeah, this may sound like a cliche or a marketing piece, but we really care just that we are right on our forecast, and and our own things. They will come along, but our
Okay.
own finances. But yeah,
All right.
unfortunately, I have forced to sell, but I will buy more because I think gold is
Oh,
gonna go to the roof.
okay. I agree with you. It's
Yeah,
in a fourth wave pullback. Silver will outperform though. Should buy some of that.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Well, people should follow you on X at MT Malinen and go to your website and check out your work, Thomas. And
yeah,
it's good to hear you with a smile in your voice today. And I hope you're right. That the right guy's in there to take care of uh, problems that are so wide on every level, financial, geo,
mm,
though it's a mess.
it is.
So anyway, let's hope. I don't know why anyone wanted that job because they're going to be blamed for the fallout that we're going to see
Yeah,
that it's been, should have happened in '08,
yeah,
but we didn't let it play out. So now it's a bigger skyscraper. So
yeah,
anyway, he will be tested just like Obama was with the financial crisis fairly shortly after his inauguration. Trump will be tested. So um, anyway, here's hoping for the best. Okay, Thomas?
Yeah, hoping, okay, yeah, hoping for the best. I was just
Hoping
listening.
for the best, and now for sure you're going to move to America.
Yeah, sure. We are there are plans. We are
All right.
it will be gradual, but anyway. But let me say one last thing. If you think about the administration Trump is going to have, if that is not a dream team of modern US, then there is none. So we have to remember that it's just not Trump and Vance, but there is Robert F. Junior Kennedy, Musk
Yeah.
probably, then Gabbard, the brilliant people, and he
How,
knows
how
how to
about, do you
build.
think Stephen Miller is a genius?
I don't have an opinion on him, to be honest.
And the people who wrote 20, their agenda, Heritage Foundation's agenda, I think it's a
I don't believe that agenda will be applied.
2025. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but still, I don't. We'll see. But like I said, there's so many factors, like the economic crisis that is approaching. Now, the one thing I have to mention though is the banking sector fragility is currently growing at the same rate as it did in February 23.
You mean before SVB?
Yeah,
Uh,
before SPP, and the thing is that now it's more worrisome because loan losses are driving it. So
okay. And also their duration portfolios are going to take a huge hit
of
because they
course,
didn't come out of their long bond positions that
I think they
got
did.
them in this trouble.
But
So
those,
anyway,
but those, let me add this: those come and go with the yields, but loan losses do not. They are longer term issue. So this will not go
everything's,
away.
I mean, restaurants, fast food restaurants are closing, things that have been around for 50 years, 100
Yeah,
years. They're
yeah,
closing up.
yeah.
A-
The economies are
Any,
hurting. So.
anyway, you and I will always be employed because we're self-employed.
Yeah, exactly.
And only we could fire ourselves.
Yes.
All right. All right, buddy. All
Yeah.
right. So Thomas Mellon and everyone, follow him. It's great to hear you happy, and you and I will be talking January or February again.
Yeah.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
partner?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, that's a wrap, everyone. You could join the team. 8 minutes, Morning Edge. Get the scoop. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, I have Katie Stockton. So, Thomas, thank you again. People are thanking you. And adios, everyone. Have a great day.